Welcome, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us on this Thursday. It's a beautiful day. My name is Dale Warner with Realvolve, and joining me today, which I'm really excited about, is Mark Stepp, who has been our Chief Innovation Officer here at Realvolve. Mark, say hello.
Hey, everyone. Just happy to be here. I'm so excited about what we're going to share. It's actually good stuff.
Yeah, so Mark and I have been working on this content for a long time now. We've been adjusting it and working on this concept. And we actually did a webinar last month, a webinar series, 3 parts with an amazing real estate agent and coach and team leader named Jennifer Myers. And so we're going to be diving into some of the things that she talked about and expanding upon some of those ideas from that 3-part webinar series. And just to get this out of the way, we are recording. This will be emailed, the recording, excuse me, the recording will be emailed out to you. So if you have to hop off early or want to share it, you'll be able to do that. Also, please put in the chat any questions, feedback, comments that you have. We're going to be doing some polls. We're going to be asking you questions. It's going to help us. Figure out what we're focusing on today. So we built in some different emphasis depending on the feedback that we get and the questions that you guys answer. And so first things first, I am currently standing in Greenwood Village, which is the Denver Tech Center, just south of Denver. Where are you calling in from? So what's your name and where are you joining us from today? Go ahead and put that in the chat. And Mark,
do I need to put Bolivar, Missouri?
Yeah, you do.
Does anybody know where Bolivar, Missouri is at?
I know where Bolivar is. I've been there now. All right, Southwest Florida, San Clemente, California, Nevada City, California, Newport Beach, Sacramento, Pasadena. And I'm actually from Gilroy, California, originally. So some of you Californians are going to know where Gilroy is.
St. Louis is in the house.
Oh, man. San Diego. A couple of San Diegos. Modesto, Central Valley, Oakland, Gilroy Garlic Festival. Yeah, good word association, Tom. Gilroy, the garlic capital of the world. We visited Gilroy Gardens. Gilroy Gardens is an amazing place, and that place is a gem. It's a hidden treasure there right outside of Gilroy. We love that spot. Irvine, California, Costa Mesa, California. Great. So majority of people are joining us from California today. This webinar is promoted by the California Association of Realtors through their business solutions, their business products division. So thank you so much to them and all that they do for the real estate agents in California. It's an amazing organization. So Irvine and Costa Mesa, several people from Costa Mesa, lots of people from San Diego too today. So awesome. All right, so Mark, let's get into it. Today, we're going to be talking about how to automate, delegate, and scale your business without burning out. The reason why this is such an important topic is because all entrepreneurs struggle with this at some point. And there's a fantastic book written by Michael Gerber called The E-Myth. And he really dives into this. One of my favorite quotes from The E-Myth is Michael Gerber says, if you're not good at building systems and processes in your business, then you are working for the worst boss in the world, which is you. You're a slave to yourself who is unable to scale because you can't delegate, you can't automate things. And not to insult anybody, but it is a difficult thing to do. When we know that we want to have this independence, we want to have freedom, we get into real estate for various reasons. Maybe it's because we want to make a lot of money. Maybe we just love real estate and love houses. A lot of us find ourselves getting to a plateau pretty early on because we can't replicate ourselves over and over again. And we only have so much time in the day. We only have so much energy. And so we want to talk about how do you break through that? How do you go to the next level without burning out? It's not just about hustle, hustle, hustle. There are some really smart things you can do. Of course, it's still hard work, but there are some things you can do to take you to the next level quicker. And our objective, go ahead, Mark.
Dale, one thing on that E-Myth, for those agents that have not read the E-Myth Real Estate Agent, that was a kind of a second shoot off from Gerber and Brad Korn. He's one of the agents that I follow on some different types of podcasts and stuff. And it's a great book and how it really applies to real estate agents, not just a general E-Myth piece. So if you've not read that or heard that, it's great. It's on Audible and worth your time listening to.
Yeah, it's a must read in my opinion. There's a few books, 7 Habits of Highly Effective People by Franklin Covey, E-Myth, and a few others. It's definitely one of those required readings. What our objective is today, Mark and I really want to help everybody on this webinar today. We want to help you get more efficient with your things so that you can be more effective with your people. And that's one of the things that we focus on here at Realvolve as well. We're always trying to figure out what can we do to automate, to make things more efficient so that we can be more effective with people. Efficiency with people is like oil and water. It doesn't mix. If you're trying to be efficient when you're dealing with people, it can create conflict. People can feel like you're blowing them off. When you're dealing with people, you want to be warm. You want to take your time. You want to really understand. And so all of the efficiency is going to come from our things, the tasks, the deadlines, all of that other stuff. And that's really what we're talking about today. Let's see. So we had somebody raising their hand here. I didn't see who that was. Maybe their hand went back down. Yeah, so Margarita, if you have a question, chime in the Q&A or in the chat there, and we're happy to answer the question for you. So, Mark, why is automating things so difficult? There's a lot of questions that people always have about CRMs, about automation, about the technology that is available to them as a real estate agent. And a lot of us don't really understand all the nuance behind those different technologies. And some of us can't really connect the dots because we're really concrete thinkers. We can't connect the dots with some of these abstract thoughts about how to automate things in our business. Why is that so hard, do you think?
There's so much that we do on a day-to-day basis that is just we just do it. And we don't think about how many times we do it. Sometimes we don't think about what we're doing. Is it something that if I'm doing it multiple times, should I figure out some way to do the automation? And people don't think about that. I've concentrated my efforts for the past 30 years in helping real estate agents do the automation, figuring out what it is they can automate. And it's really a mind shift. It's a mindset of saying, hey, I've got a set amount of time, 24 hours a day, and you've got to fit in sleeping and eating and all the family time and all the other things. So you've got a limited amount of time within your business to do what you need to do, unless you're just a workaholic. And you've got to figure out ways to be more efficient and be more effective with that time. And it's difficult whenever you're in the moment trying to do the things that agents do, and you guys are strung out in all different directions at all different times, going from one fire to another. And what I would say is, if you can get automated, if you can systematize your business in a way that it reduces those fires, you're preempting a lot of the things that would normally come back as fires with explanation of why you're doing this, or some process that if it's a new home buyer, they don't know anything. And what is it that you can do to send more content, more things to help them understand the process without having to worry about them coming back, calling you and eating up your time. So you can really, just by doing the automation, you can simplify your life a whole lot. And we just get into that focus of putting out fires all the time. And
yeah, so
that's what makes it difficult.
Yeah, I want to hear what everybody has to say here in the chat. Why do you think automating is difficult for you? What slows you down? Is it knowledge, education, understanding? What is it that slows you down? Because I have two thoughts. Number one, I think automating is difficult because it does take extra work up front. And so while you're juggling your day-to-day tasks, you've got to build out some automation. You got to think through it, and maybe you have to put in some work to get things automated. That's number one. And number two, it's a delayed gratification thing, just like dieting and exercise. There, just like a lot of things in life, it's not instant gratification. So it does take some planning ahead, and it takes a lot of discipline to get that into place.
There's a common theme that I'm seeing here. Don't know where to start.
Yeah.
There's several people. It's just that, and just takes time to do it.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Deciphering which technology to use and knowing how to navigate the various technologies. I think that's a big one, Lisa. Concern about where to start. Though I like first-time buyer's journey idea. Carrie, that's a really good one. We actually did a really good webinar with Michael Thorne on that as well, where he talks about how he's educating his clients in his automation, which saves him a lot of time. Amount of time it takes, not knowing how to set it up, takes time to learn it, not knowing where to start, taking the time to set it up. So yeah, a lot of time and knowledge. All right, so we'll talk about that in a little bit here. So follow-up question. What about delegating? So those of you that have people on your team, or those of you that have like an assistant in the office or a shared marketing resource, why is delegating difficult for a lot of us? I think for a lot of us, it comes down to control, number one, because we feel like we want it done a certain way. And by delegating it, it's maybe not going to get done exactly the way we want it. We have to get comfortable with that. I think that's a big roadblock. Trust and control, liability. Yeah, what else? Any other thoughts on delegating? So many different automation companies out there. How do you know which ones work best for you? Kelly, that's an excellent question. And we can talk a little bit more about that in a little bit here too. I don't want to get too derailed with that question, but that certainly is a big factor because just like ice cream flavors, they're different technology. People have preferences for technology as well. And so it's not just a cut and dried answer there. It feels like the time to delegate is the same to complete a task. Okay. And that is a fallacy, I think. But I definitely agree with you that it feels that way sometimes. Yep. Teach someone.
My dad would always say, if you can't do it right, don't do it at all, or let me do it.
Yep. All right, so let's do this now. Let's start getting into solutions. Okay, so we're going to ask you a few more questions in a little bit here, but I think this is a good starting point, Mark. We got some good feedback here. So let's find out what everybody would delegate immediately if delegating were easy, because delegating is very difficult. If it were easy, what would you delegate immediately so that you didn't have to worry about? If you knew it was going to be taken care of at a high level of accuracy and completeness, et cetera, what would you delegate? So paperwork, be more specific, Loretta. Marketing and lead gen. Yeah, Andrea says you have to have the specifics in order to delegate. And she actually put SOP, which is a standard operating procedure. So yep, SOPs.
That's exactly it.
Yep. I think that is the real hard part of it. Social media posts, social media, 2 people, 3 people, social media. Completing forms and keeping files updated. Okay, that's something we can work with, Mark.
Yep.
Data entry into different platforms. Yep, that's a tough one too. There's a 4th, social media. Man, you guys are like me. I hate social media. It's one of those necessary evils for me too. CRM input, transaction management, listing to close, contract to close, email drip campaigns. Yeah, we were getting a good variety here. Not everybody's agreeing except for us social media haters. The entire ecosystem of digital systems, Neil. Yeah, there's a really good book, Neil. Neil, it's good to see you again, by the way. One of the books that I've read recently, I just started reading actually, is called Rocket Fuel, and they talk about entrepreneurs versus integrators. There's people that are really good at wanting to start a business like a real estate business and take the risk and put in the time and the hard work. And then there's integrators that can take all of that energy that's created over here and figure out how to make it jive and keep things organized and allow the chaos to be contained so that you can go to the next level. So Neil, I recommend that book, Rocket Fuel. It's a really good one because it sounds like what you need is a really good assistant or a transaction manager or somebody that's tech savvy that can help you with all that stuff. Okay. So Facebook, facebook.com. Okay. See more social media. All right. Let me see if I can play this real quick video because I want to hear what Jennifer had to say to set up the rest of the discussion here about these three parts: the automate, delegate, scale. And I think I might have to reshare my screen here actually, because I forgot to turn on the sound when I shared it. So this is going to mess us all up here. Mark, let me see. Can you see it?
No, not yet.
Not yet? Okay, I can't hear you now for some reason. So that's odd. I'm going to play this and then I'll change my sound settings again. Can you hear this?
What, where, when. Then also delegate those tasks that require people. You'll see here in a second, like a runner, for example, the dropping off the keys, like all that stuff that doesn't require you.
It's going
still needs
faint.
to get done and can't be automated. You're going to delegate those things too. And then once you automate, then you delegate. That is when you can scale to 1 million and not feel like everything's relying on you, including your team.
Okay. Yeah. So I absolutely love that. And one of the things that Jennifer said, and when she was doing this webinar with us, she asked everybody in the chat to say, what roles would you bring on first? Like, who would you hire first? And we're going to get to that in a little bit here. So just hang on to that thought. Mark, your thoughts on this automate, delegate, scale framework here that Jennifer introduced?
Well, there's so much that she started off saying. Can you go to the next frame on that?
Yep.
So first and foremost,
there you go. The one thing that she says that is an overarching goal or overarching comment is that you can't delegate a mess. And the order in which those items are in that list of automate, delegate, and scale are so important. Because if you try to delegate something that you don't have defined, you can't do it because it's not defined. It's going to be a mess. It's going to be a challenge anytime that you try to do that. So just number one, just the way she's put those in that particular order, it's so important.
Yeah, I agree. And man, you can't delegate a mess is so key. I mean, a lot of times people confuse delegating with dumping, where they're just going to dump something off onto somebody else. But it just doesn't work out that way. And that's when we, if we really want things done a certain way, we do have to get ourselves organized first. We have to have our own thinking organized first to be able to set up somebody else for success. And that's why this automate, delegate, scale is so important, because we need to first get everything organized in our own head, then get it organized down on paper or in a technology somewhere.
Yeah.
So,
hey, Dale, I'm seeing some square boxes there. Yeah, you're moving them around. Are those something that you can?
That's my chat and my Zoom.
That's interesting.
Let me just try to stop my screen share and do it again. It's so weird.
As we go through this, it's.
You still see the box?
Yeah, I still see the box. Okay. Zoom is causing havoc. That's okay.
Well, I think I know. Let me try one last thing and then we'll just ignore it and deal with it.
Yeah, we can ignore it if we need to. There we go.
Okay. Yeah, when I optimized it for video, it shows the black over the screen for some reason.
Okay. No biggie.
All right, so get your systems in place before anything else. So a CRM to track contacts, properties, and transactions. What do you have to say about that, Mark?
Well, if you start thinking about what you do on a day-to-day basis and you don't have some place to put it, it's going to go on papers, it's going to go on sticky notes, it's going to go all over the place, and you're still in that same situation. You're trying to delegate a mess. So you've got to get them into one central place. The Realvolve CRM is kind of the best place to put it, because we do the tracking of contacts, of properties, of transactions, and then we wrap that, all three of those, then into the workflow platform that allow you to do the automation and be able to set up all the different little automations that are specific to contacts, properties, or transactions.
Yeah. And, there's always a question. Everybody always wants to know, what CRM is everybody else using? What's the best CRM? Well, Mark and I both work for Realvolve. And so we're pretty partial to realvolve.com. That obviously is a self-serving statement, but we're going to make the case here toward the end of the webinar why Realvolve is so much better than the other systems out there. And it's specifically because of this ability to automate, delegate, scale within our CRM. Tom asked, how do we automate multiple CRMs? So that's a really good question too, Tom. And we have a ton of people that use Realvolve that are also using a lead manager or a lead generator that also has a CRM built in. And so what a lot of people will do is they will decide which CRM is for which stage of their funnel. And they'll use something that has an IDX website and whatever to help generate their leads, something like FirePoint to help them generate leads and bring them in. And once they convert those people into an appointment, they go into Realvolve, and that's where they stay for the rest of the relationship life cycle. They do the pre-listing appointment, or they'll do the transaction contract to close in Realvolve, and then they do all their past client follow-up in Realvolve, and that person stays there forever. So does it integrate with Google email? Yes, it does. So Tom, there's a whole, we could talk for the next 30 minutes easily on how to automate multiple CRMs. My suggestion is reach out to our sales team if you don't have Realvolve. We can talk to you about how that can happen. We can have a conversation about what specifically you're using, how you're using it, and how Realvolve could potentially fit into that to ease the process of using multiple CRMs, because we have some things we can do to integrate them together and make it a lot easier for you.
Absolutely.
So, yeah, so let's watch the next one here, and I'm going to have to reshare my screen again.
I was able to hear it earlier. Are you sure you're not able to just hit play?
Let's see.
So I want you guys thinking about
Okay, good.
all the things that happen in your business and creating a system. When it comes to selling real estate, most of the things that happen are the same things that happen over and over and over and over again. And so I want you starting to think about, what are the things that I keep doing and I keep saying and I keep reacting to over and over and over and over again. And you start creating a system. The reason why systemizing your business is so crucially important is a couple reasons. And actually systemize, a lot of times when people think the word automation or systemizing, it's like you think that that's removing the personality from your business, but creating a system actually injects your personality. And what that does is it creates your unique version. So if any of agent grad schoolers here, raise your hand. You know the thing I always talk about: why should somebody choose you? And sometimes, right, that is because it's just your unique approach. What is the experience that you create for your clients from the minute they come into your world until well after the transaction? That is where you build in your personality.
Yeah, totally. So, coming up with your own unique vision of, how you want to systemize things is the number one first step. And so let's brainstorm something for a second here. I want to brainstorm maybe a couple of things. So number one, who is the next person you would bring onto your team? And I know some of you aren't planning to bring anybody on, but if you felt confident that you knew what to do to bring that person on and you were ready for them, who would you bring on? And I have a little poll here that I'm going to launch to gather that information, if I can get it to work. It doesn't want to launch. All right, so yeah, the poll's not launching. So, an assistant, what kind of an assistant? So a transaction manager, somebody to work on the, just helping you with random tasks. Do you want runner? Do you want a transaction coordinator? Would you bring on a buyer's agent, an inside sales agent to help you convert leads and set appointments? Someone to help me stay organized. So just a general, general admin. Okay, so TC, assistant, admin, TC. So nobody has said buyer agent. Nobody has said partner. Nobody has said, okay, one inside sales agent for lead conversion.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think the answer, we've done polls in the past, Mark, and I think it was 80% of people that we've polled say that they would bring on an assistant or a transaction coordinator. Those are the most common answers. And by the way, if I go to other salespeople, they all want an assistant. Every salesperson that I've ever talked to wants an assistant to help them be more efficient. Because we all know that there's just certain things that we have to do that don't necessarily make us money directly. It's all the dotted line tasks that we have to do.
And it doesn't necessarily take us.
Right.
It's stuff that we don't have to do. Anybody could do it and help free up our time.
Right. So if it's, most people said transaction coordinator or assistant, right? So some people have said inside sales agent or social media person, marketing person. So understanding this, that most of the things that happen in your business, especially real estate, are things that happen over and over again. Let's brainstorm really quickly. What are those things that happen over and over again? What are some examples of things that you do over and over and over again? What do you think, Mark? What are some things that happen over and over again in real estate business?
Well, pretty much everything actually happens over and over again. I mean, starting, and we'll get to a slide here in a little bit, but it's, a new lead. Whenever a new lead comes in, there's all kinds of follow-up that needs to be done, the nurturing that needs to be done. Whenever you get the listing, there's all kinds of things that you have to do for the marketing, the maintenance, the elements that go in there, and it's emails, it's text messages, it's updates, it's deadlines and due dates, and all the things that go along with each of those processes, each of those frameworks of things that you do are repeatable, and consequently, they should be systematized because of the very nature of most emails. What are you doing? You're typing in the same type of information. You're just filling in dates, or you're filling in people, those types of things that could be done so easily with the merge field from the database. And if you're not doing that now and you do have a database, that is a time suck. It just eats you alive. And even if you're using a template, if you're having to manually type in any of those dates, that's where we have, the systems in place that you can just put in those merge fields, create templates, and let the system handle it for you. You don't even need an assistant yourself to send them out. It can just blast them out for you.
Yeah. So there's a couple of comments here in the chat, and I'm about to go off on a rant because I am so passionate about this and excited about this. So one thing is a listing presentation. Carrie said listing presentation, and Lisa said filling out contracts. Okay, so let's just think up for a second about listing presentation and your contracts. How often do you open up a Word doc that's blank and start typing out a contract from scratch? How often does that happen? Never, ever do we do that. How often, if we have a listing presentation coming up, we have a listing appointment, do we open up a blank PowerPoint and start building a listing presentation from scratch right before a listing appointment? How often do we do that? Never. We don't do those things. We pull up a template and we start from the template, whether it's a contract or a listing presentation. Now, how often, when you're in the middle of a transaction or you're converting a lead, do you pull up a blank email and start typing from scratch? All the time. Why do we do that? Why do we start creating emails over and over again when we could be using templates? And what Mark just said there is super crucial. It's very important to understand this point about how CRMs can work if you get the right CRM. He said merge fields. What's a merge field? What a system like Realvolve can do for you is that we can have emails that are all templated out, ready to go. And the system will, it dynamically pulls information from the CRM and puts it into the email with only the information that's relevant to that client at that time. And I might, oh shoot, I don't know if I have this. I'm going to stop my share for a second here. Do I have that slide, Mark, with Kendall's email in it?
Yeah, it's towards the bottom, I think.
Okay, so I have to, this is just such an important point here.
Whenever you're looking at what he's going to show you, there are one email that has multiple fields in it. And in each of those fields, then they're being pulled from or drawn from the database. And it could be from the contact database, the property database, the transaction database, any of them, with the dates, with the people, with comments, with virtually any kind of information that's being collected in that database, it would then show up.
I don't have it.
You don't have it. Oh man.
But I do have one example. So there's one example here, which is like, if you have a deal that's a referral, for example, and you don't have a, like in Realvolve, you can check a box and say, I don't have a referral agreement from this agent. And then Realvolve automatically fires up an email for you with one or two clicks. It addresses it to the right person. It can even reference the client that was referred automatically. It can talk about the projected close date for the deal. There's all kinds of things that can insert automatically so that you're not reinventing the wheel every time you're emailing somebody.
Think about sending out transactional information about when is the inspection, when is the different types of approvals and loan. You can do any kind of date value that's in Realvolve and put those in. And that way you're not having to pull up some manual email and then manually type in those dates before you send it out. I mean, that wastes 5-10 minutes just looking and referencing at other information that's already available.
Yep. Yeah. So again, Jennifer says, think about all the things that happen in your business, create a system that injects your personality and makes you different, and rely on templates, rely on these things that you've done ahead of time to allow you to be really efficient when you're doing these things, because it's not worth the time it takes to reinvent the wheel every time or write the email every time. So Mark, what do we have in Realvolve that makes all of this very easy?
So one of the beautiful things about Realvolve is you can create workflows, but not only that, if you are an agent or a user of Realvolve, you can create workflow packages and share those with other people. We happen to have over 250 workflow packages that have either been created by us or by other agents that use Realvolve on a day in, day out basis, and that are customized to their specific processes, the things that they do. So if you're a brand new agent and maybe you don't know all the things that you should do, could do, would do, you could pull up somebody else's workflows. If they've made it available, you can pull it up and be able to use it. You could then go in and modify it, add items, delete items, make it you. And that's the whole beauty of what she said. Jennifer said, personalize it to the way you do business. And that way, you are known for whatever it is that you are known for. In her case, it was first-time home buyers. She was helping first-time home buyers with all kinds of different programs, federal programs and stuff, money that they could get. Well, she incorporated that into her workflows, into her emails. And every time that somebody was a new home buyer, a first-time home buyer, she would put them on that workflow, and all the information on a periodic basis would be going out. It would notify her when to make calls. It adds her personality. And that's the thing that she was saying, is just because you systematize something doesn't mean that you're making it into a robot and doesn't seem personal. You put the personality into the workflow, and you can use our workflow packages in order to do that, or you can create your own.
Yeah, and so I think it was Tom was asking what, is a workflow a series of tasks? So just real quick, I don't want to spend too much time on this, Mark, but I do want to help other people understand what you're saying when you're saying workflow. So a workflow in Realvolve it's more than a campaign. It can be like a campaign, like a drip campaign. It can be a series of tasks, but the real power is that it's both. It's like a project plan, a task list, checklists, and campaigns all wrapped into one. So for example, this is a listing appointment workflow that you're seeing visualized on the screen here. And so if you have a listing appointment, a workflow can remind you to do your like pre-listing appointment checklist. Make sure you have all of this information that you're supposed to have for the client, email them the day before with some kind of planting some seeds to them, and Realvolve can send the email automatically. Based on whether or not you walk out of there with a listing agreement or not, Realvolve can help you remember to follow up with that client. Or if you get the listing agreement, it can go right into your pre-listing checklist and start you down the path of getting an active listing in the MLS, et cetera. So it's like a project plan, but it also communicates on your behalf. The emails can be sent out from you to your clients. The replies come right back to your inbox like they normally do, your regular email inbox. But it can be texting for you. It can email you. It can email people on your team, text your team, text you to remind you to do certain things. It's a very powerful system built specifically for residential real estate. And I see that there's a question there about commercial real estate. Primarily, we are built for residential real estate. Now we have commercial agents, property managers. We have people like that using the system. But they're willing to deal with some things that might be missing or not quite optimized for them. Ideally, it's definitely residential real estate focused. Absolutely. So just keep that in mind. Let me pull my screen share back up here. Man, I'm having the hardest time with this screen share. Tell you what. All right. Let's see. Let me know if you can hear this.
And then you want to start looking at those repetitive tasks. I'm going to show you the 3 places next where like systemizing and automating your business is so crucially easy. The 3 places to start. Okay. But I want you to think through like really the details. Like, for example, what started happening when I first started becoming like busy as a real estate agent, like the thing that would always get me was like when you're under contract and that email that you have to send out about like, here's the utilities and like, here's what you need to do and all of that, right? And I kept thinking about when is the right time? Like, what do I need to say? I keep saying the same thing over and over again. And when is the best time to inject it into the system? And so before you can automate, you have to systematize all those little processes in your business. Okay, you already know what they are. And the easiest place to do it is that under contract. Okay, then we delegate after you systematize and after you automate it.
Yeah, so I absolutely love that because that is the right order to do it in. You got to understand what you're doing first, have it all systemized, have it in a technology like Realvolve, and then you can bring somebody else on. One of my most favorite stories that I ever heard was from Christian Nossum of the Awesome Nossum team. And they talked about how they were really struggling to hire a transaction coordinator that was proficient. And they went through a couple, they burned through some that took a long time to train and get up to speed, and they would lose them for whatever reason. And once they finally got their workflows set up, it took them a couple of days of concerted effort to get some workflows in place. They hired a transaction coordinator with 0 real estate experience. And they were able to just plug them into Realvolve and say, learn this. This is how we like things done. Once that person was familiar with the workflow in Realvolve, they could run transactions for them. They could do all the transaction coordination and transaction management for them because it was all in Realvolve. Easy to do.
And that story was so neat because him and his wife, they spent just
and then you want to start looking
at a hotel. They booked a hotel for the weekend and got all of their systems done in one weekend. Right. I mean, that was the awesome part of the Awesome Nossum team. I mean, just, dedicating the time that it took to figure out the design part. How do I want this? How do I want to personalize it? How do I want my systems to be? Because if you don't know how you want it to be, you can't delegate the things.
That's right. And you know, with anything, if you want freedom, this is true of anything, you've got to have some discipline on the front end, right? So just like, you know, if I want to have better health, I need to be disciplined with my diet and my exercise. If I want to have more freedom to be able to travel where I want to go, I've got to be disciplined with my money. And if you want the freedom to be able to run the business the way you want to run it and not have to be in reaction mode all the time, you have to put in some discipline in the front end to think through how to automate some of this stuff. And what we've done at Realvolve is we've tried to shortcut that process for you as much as possible with some of these preset workflows that Mark shared on the screen there earlier. And so we can get you 80, 90% of the way, but there's a little bit of a 10% that you need to understand just how everything's working, what some of those nuances are in the process, and then maybe tweak some of the language so that it matches your personality a little bit more. And that's it. So we're trying to get you as far over that finish line or as close to the finish line as possible. There's a little bit of work involved to get these workflows up. Once they're up and running, that's freedom. It's a game changer. One other quick anecdote, my good friend Jackie up in Minnesota area, she had an assistant that was running her business, right? The dream of a superstar rock star transaction coordinator. Jackie had that. Well, one summer when they were real busy, her assistant won a cruise, like on a radio show. She was like the ninth caller and won this cruise. And so 2 weeks from today, all of a sudden she's taken off and she's going to be gone. And they have all these active listings and active contract to close that they're trying to get done. And the assistant that is the hero to everybody on the team is going to be gone. Well, the assistant just said, look, Jackie, it's not that hard. I got everything in Realvolve. It's all in here. So here's what you need to do. Here's where your task list is. Just work through these things every day. Here's what I've already accomplished. It's right here in this screen. And Realvolve shows you all of that. So all Jackie had to do is log in, look at the transaction coordinator's task list, which was easy for her to do, and work through those things. She said it was a blast. It was so much fun. It was way more fun than what she used to have to do when she was doing all of her own transaction coordinating, because it was all in the system. It was all thought through. And that, again, that is true freedom, because they took the time and invested in a system like Realvolve.
Yeah. Anything that you do more than once should be automated. That may be a little bit of an overstatement. I mean, if you only going to do it twice, then probably not. But if it's something that you do more than once a month or once a week, absolutely go in there and figure out what it is that's doing and then systematize it. And the process of automating is thinking about, and you really got to think about the details of what it is you want to do. I need this email. This email needs to contain these elements. You're systematizing that email and then putting that into the mix of things. And this is just an example of, you know, some of the tasks that you might need to do day 1, day 2, day 3, whatever. These are the elements that are in there, and you create a list of activities that need to get done. This particular one is a new lead workflow. Whenever a lead comes in, these are the things that I do. So there's like 18 different activities that get done over a 7-day period. And that 7-day period, as you're going through them, it reminds you to phone call, it reminds you to text, it reminds you, or it'll send out the text or send out the email for you automatically. But until you get that phone call with that lead, then at that point you can say, okay, I finished that. Let's go into the next workflow for this person. And you can have multiple workflows running at the same time, which is beautiful as well.
Yeah. So, I mean, our automation that we have built into the workflow platform at Realvolve, not even close to anything you're going to find out there in the industry. The way we can automate things is so far above and beyond what any of our competitors can do. There's a lot of people asking in the chat, you know, how's this different than X, Y, or Z? Because you can actually automate things in a really smart way. This is smart automation that will allow you to get things done much more efficiently. It's not just drip campaigns. And the major key, I guess the easiest way to explain this is that most other systems are just going to automate based off of a start date or working backwards off of an end date. And they'll just do some time delays. With Realvolve, we can actually plan it out the way it happens in real life, which is there's a fork in the road here, there's plan B there, there's all kinds of different things that come up. Well, Realvolve is going to keep up with you. So you'll be able to see what everybody on the team is working on, what they've gotten done on time, what's past due, what's been completed, what's still yet to come for all of your clients, all of your listings, all of your contract to close, everything in your whole business. So it's an amazing automation.
The key to that is being consistent. Everybody's getting the same world-class experience because you're using the same workflow for everybody during that experience. And if you are giving them world-class experience and they realize how well you took care of them, how likely are they to refer other people to you because they were handled well?
Yeah.
I mean, it's a no-brainer.
Yeah, so we're actually not going to be able to get through all the slides today, by the way. We have a lot of more ideas and things. So pay attention to the follow-up emails because we're going to send out this slideshow, these slides, and you'll be able to watch the videos and everything else. And we also have some other resources, some homework, some ideas and things that are going to be coming. So pay attention to your email. Watch for our emails. There's some really good stuff in there. I do want to just get to a couple more things real quick. So, Mark, you wanted to talk about building structure into your systems that add consistent value. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah. So everything that you do, whenever you're doing them, and it really goes back to that world-class experience. If you can add structure to what you do and add value to that process. So if you're sending them emails, you're not just sending them recipe cards or something like that. You're actually adding value to them. The content in there is pertinent to the point at which they're in the process. So you're sending them an email when it's timely, when it's due, and when they should get it, when they need to know about it. That structure, building that structure is what's so important.
So let's get to this one. I think this will be the last video that we'll be able to fit in here. Let me just play this one real quick. And then I have a few other things that I want to share with everybody before we run out of time here. Some really important things about ideas that you can implement. And then just a couple of examples of what people are doing with workflows.
Go to the next slide instead of this one.
Okay.
If you don't mind.
Yeah.
And so here.
Okay, here we go.
This just gives you an example.
Yep.
So for each of those, we're going to talk about what to automate, what not to automate, and how to automate those things. So in your lead generation category, right? I know this is I'm waiting for the comments to roll in as I start saying this stuff, but this is how I built $1 million business. I had a website that brought me leads. I had a weekly value-driven email. And I had a CRM prompting me to inject myself in the right place at the right time so I wouldn't forget. That's all it takes. That's it.
I love that so much. Whenever she's defining down to three major things. And whenever you're looking at it, it's bringing those leads in from either a website or a form of some sort. We can use Zapier, an integration partner that allows you to bring those contacts into Realvolve and then start workflows. And those workflows can send notifications, can do that value-driven email that she talks about. It can inject the personality with, telling you when to make the calls and what to talk about. And then just the lead nurturing and follow-up after that. It's really what makes her systems so useful, is because it's pertinent information and it's well structured.
Yeah. And then she talked about the lead generation. She talked about the under contract automations and things, and she has 64 activities every time a property goes under contract. And a lot of times when I've shown people this, Mark, they always say 64 things. I don't do 64 things.
You'd be surprised.
Right. I think we just gloss over some things. The problem that a lot of us have when we don't have it all listed out in organized fashion is those are the things that, the extra things that you remember when you're laying awake in bed at night, worrying about the detail that's going to come bite you later. That's when we remember those things. And so it's important to get them all down and add to it. That's the beautiful thing about automation like this, is you can be tweaking it and continually thinking of things that you can do to add more of your personality, more of your style into the process that wows the clients even more, makes them love you even more.
And then at the end of the day, once you use Realvolve, it tells you what you've done, what you've not done. And your goal is to get them all done. By the time you're at the end of the day, you should be able to go home, be in the moment with your family, your friends, whoever you want to be there with, and not have to worry about those things being left undone. That's why I'm in this business, to help you guys figure out how to spend more family time, honestly.
Yeah, and so we've spent some time too, Mark, interviewing people like the Treasure Davis team down in Colorado Springs, who have an amazing business, right? They're doing hundreds and hundreds of transactions every year, and they have a pretty small team, a relatively small team. And the reason why they're able to do that is because of their automation, because of their systems, because of their organization. But a lot of people, and I know we haven't addressed this yet, but a lot of people are afraid of automation because that word sounds cold and emotionless to them. And so the idea of automating things and just dripping things to their clients, it feels very impersonal. Well, what the Treasure Davis team has done is taken the culture of their team and injected that into all of their automation. So when their clients are getting communication that is automated, it doesn't feel automated. It feels personal. And so what they've done is, one example here is, let me see. One example is this would be a buyer pending workflow. When they have a deal, we're working with a buyer, it's pending, they have 116 activities that they're working through. But look, there's 5 different people on the team, Mark, that are doing all of this different stuff. How cool is that?
That's the delegation part. Once you've got your systems in place, then it's just a matter of setting up the activities so that it's delegated to the correct role, transaction coordinator, buyer agent, whatever it is, and even runners or whatever. And as you run those workflows, they get assigned to the appropriate person on your team, and you don't have to worry about them getting done at that point. They're by you're relying on your team to do it and delegating it, knowing that they're following your structure on how you want it to be followed.
Right. So this gets back to the E-Myth concept, but if you are a team of 1 right now, and you were one of those people that said, I want to get a transaction coordinator, I want to get an assistant. Well, what you do is you have this workflow, and maybe there's 5 people in mind or 3 people in mind that you want to have do this stuff. And starting today, you are all 3 of those people. So your name goes into that slot, and Realvolve is treating you like you're your own transaction coordinator. You are the buyer's agent, you are the client care coordinator, and assigning all those things to you. And as soon as you bring somebody onto the team, even if it's a part-time person or a virtual assistant overseas, you add their name as the transaction coordinator, and they can help you work through those things. But one quick example of how this works on the team, right? So the transaction coordinator is doing 73 things, the buyer's agent's doing 30, client care coordinator is doing some, marketing coordinator is doing some, and the team leader, Treasure Davis, is always doing some activities. And I counted them up. She's doing 4 things on everyone. And I showed you the numbers. I mean, she's doing 350, 400 transactions a year. And on every single one of those deals, she is injecting herself so that the team culture, the personality, and everything is there consistently with every single client. And she's the face that they see on the billboard. She's the voice that they hear on the radio ads. And so she injects herself in there just to make sure that there's that continuity. They know they're still doing business with Treasure Davis. And that's how she likes to work things. And one of those 4 activities she does is, for example, if an offer gets accepted on a house, she's going to get a text message. Her transaction coordinator checks a couple of boxes in Realvolve, and Treasure gets a text message that will say, send a video congratulating these people, and it puts their information in there in the text. So she just gets this automatic text from Realvolve and says, oh, I'm going to shoot a little bomb video. And she can do that in a matter of seconds without really having to put too much thought into it. And it's still a very personal touch. It's a very high service, personal thing. Most of the legwork's automated, and it's just really easy to close the gap there. So Mark, just a couple of questions. I want to get into how people can learn more, what to expect over the next couple of weeks from us, et cetera, et cetera. So Patricia says, if we purchase from your library, do we pay only once or we pay every time? No, it's just a one-time thing. There's a lot of things that are free in there too, like Mark said. So there's some free stuff to help get you started. If you want more of the advanced stuff that's taken a lot of time and effort to create, sometimes there's a fee, but it's worth every penny. Let's see, does a workflow keep you current in the process and let you know if you're behind? Yes, absolutely. So it will keep you organized. It will tell you when you're getting behind. And the really cool thing is there's some reminders that we can build in so that if something's not done, it can ping you, every week or every day or whatever you want. So it's pretty cool that it'll really help you lift your level of
Accountability.
your level of accountability. So your clients are just going to love you. And again, they don't know that it's automated. That's the most beautiful part about this all. They're just going to be like, holy smokes, Carrie is on top of things or whatever it is. So, Treasure says being on a team requires a system that allows you to interact with multiple people within it. And Realvolve does just that with the amazing capabilities it offers. And so they have a transaction coordinator that is kind of their primary point of contact for the Realvolve system, but everybody gets the benefit of the system, and the buyer's agents don't have to do as much work. The team leader doesn't have to do as much work. And yet they have a very, very high level of customer service that they deliver to their clients. So again, Mark, I know we really didn't get through this whole thing here today, but what are some of the things they can look forward to getting from us in some of the follow-up that we're sending out over the next couple of weeks?
Yeah, so we have a one-pager document that definitely, if you reach out to us, want some information, we can also be sending out by email one-pager document that covers the 3-part series on Jennifer. We were just showing some segments of it. We can make that available to you and go from there. And then there's a whole bunch of additional elements here that have a huge value if you're interested.
Yeah, and the reason why we love Jennifer so much is because she has a non-traditional approach. And so it's really helpful to think like her about certain problems, maybe things that have been tripping you up for a little while. It's really nice to get a fresh perspective. And she's just a really solid real estate agent with a great business, and she does some coaching as well. So great person to listen to. We'll send you that 3-part series. And if you start a free trial today of Realvolve, so go to realvolve.com and click on Get Started Now. It's not going to cost you a dime. It's a free trial. We don't need your credit card info or anything like that. So it is 100% free. You're going to lock in the following. So we have holiday email package. So there's 15 customizable templates that you can use to communicate with your past clients over the holidays this year. And they're specific to the dates that are relevant this year. We're going to have 3 newsletters available to you. These are pre-written, ready to send email newsletters for October, November, December of this year. We're going to give you access to the premium workflow suite. That says $5.99 value. It's actually more than that. I think it's a $7.99 value, Mark. That's what people are getting it for out of our library today. We have a built-in dialer. We help import and organize your contacts. There's some guided onboarding that you're going to get, workflow customization, ask me anything sessions where we're live and can work through issues with you on a webinar. Of course, you get access to our support team every day of the week as well. There's all kinds of value built in here that you don't have to make a decision today. Just start a free trial and you can decide over the next couple of weeks if this is a good fit for you. So 12 months of the most powerful real estate CRM and workflow platform in the industry, hands down. An easy way to add value to your most important contacts through monthly relevant newsletters, custom templates, campaigns, all of that stuff. $0 today. Lock it in. No credit card, no commitment, nothing like that. If you want to continue, it'd be $790 for the year. And we have monthly options as well. But just go to realvolve.com, realvolve.com. If you have any comments or questions for me, you can email me directly, dale.warner@realvolve.com. Some of you have asked questions like, can I get this resource? Can I get that resource? Can I get the replays? Email me, dale.warner@realvolve.com. I a lot of times when I put my email out like this, I might get 150 emails today. I promise you I will get to them all. So email me and I will reply and get you everything that you might need. So dale.warner@realvolve.com. And then, of course, stay tuned for more follow-up information. We're going to send you some more training, some more information, some insights, and there's some quick hit videos, some really tight content that I think can help you get the wheels turning. So if you're really committed to this automate, delegate, scale, you want to take your business to the next level. And that means different things for everybody. Mark, you and I talked about that before. We forgot to mention it on the webinar. Scale means different things to different people, right?
It can mean either you want to do the same number of hours and get more business, or maybe you want to get the same amount of business that you're doing, but do it in less time. Scaling either way, and it's up to you.
Yeah, or it might be scaling, might be able to bring people onto the team efficiently so you can really go to the next level without killing yourself. So scaling up the business means different things to different people. We can help with it all. So we'd love to talk to you about what your goals are and how we can potentially fit. I know a lot of you had very specific questions about which technology you're currently using and how Realvolve can fit into that. Again, that's best for a conversation with us. So reach out to us, and we'd love to have that conversation. The free trial is for 2 weeks. It's a 14-day free trial. And I know some of you might not have time or whatever. Just reach out to us. Shoot me an email if you have questions about what we can do for you. We're reasonable people. We're here to help you. We want real estate agents to save time being effective with their things so they can be more efficient with their things so they can be more effective with the people that they're working with. We have tens of thousands of agents using our platforms, and we're here to help. So we have a lot of inside knowledge. We know how to solve problems that maybe you haven't even faced yet in your business. We can connect you to resources, coaches, strategies, campaigns, all kinds of things that we have at our disposal here to help you get better and accomplish the goals that you have for yourself. There is no one size fits all strategy. And that's why Realvolve is so amazing, because we can customize your automation to your business so that it works for you, not so that it's cramming you into a box that you might not fit so well in. Mark, any final words, closing thoughts?
I just, I'm the same way. If anybody needs me, you can reach out to me as well. But, I'm in this industry because of agents like you that have spent way too much time doing it the hard way. And it's been my life goal to, and I know that sounds kind of crazy from, an engineer, but it's been my life goal to help real estate agents become more efficient in their time so they can spend more time with their family. That's from the heart.
Yeah, amazing. Thank you, everybody, again, for joining us today. Hope you got some value out of this. There's plenty of things that you can do no matter what system you're using, but we would love to talk to you about potentially using Realvolve. We think you'd like it, and would love to have that conversation with you. So thank you, Lupe. Thank you, Anne, Vinay, Carrie, Lisa, Rich. Thanks for hanging with us to the end here. Trinesia, Tim, Stephanie, thank you so much. Email me or Mark if you have any questions. Go to our website, realvolve.com, start a free trial today, and stay tuned for more info coming in your inbox very soon. We will see you on the next one. Bye for now.
Bye, everyone.